Hi, everyone. Welcome to Words with Wista. Welcome to my not so personal diary, where I talk about what pops in my head, whatever is in my notes app, and what randomly happens in pop culture, politics, and whatever's happening in your local community, I guess. I don't know, you guys. I feel like every single time I come up with this damn freaking intro, I just don't know how we're gonna improve this. Because if you've been around for a while, you know the OG intro. But we'll see what happens. If you're part of the What's the Game, part of the What's the Crew, part of the What's the Posse, welcome back. I missed you. I missed you so much. Oh my God. And if you're a new listener, welcome to the party. As in the words of Pop Smoke. Rest in peace to Pop Smoke. Okay. Life update, or do we want to go straight into these topics? Let's just do the life update. Well, the holidays are over officially. Well, not really, because what? This episode comes out on December 29th. It's December 28th. New Year's. I know this is that time a lot of you guys are reflecting, thinking about what are you going to make an impact in your life in 2026. I know for people like myself, 2025 was a bridge year. It was a lot of getting rid of things that just didn't serve you or things that didn't serve you exiting your life. Also reflecting on relationships. Like I can personally say this right now, there's some people I'm just not going to talk to in 2026. You might get a Merry Christmas text from me, a Happy Birthday, that's it. But also, it's the aspect of what you're going to tolerate and what you're not going to tolerate, right? I feel like when you go through a bridge year, that starts to open the doors to what you truly want, what you've been desiring for, and what you've been working for. A crazy thing is that what? In 2026, this podcast turns 10 years old. It is crazy. And yes, we are going to celebrate the 200th episode. I do have a special guest coming on the 200th episode. That's a secret for another time, but just know it's going to be very nostalgic. I can say for that for sure. But this is definitely that reflection time of thinking, okay, what are we going to implement? What are we going to adjust? We know that the economy is shit right now. We know that the job market is shit right now. We know that people are just trying to get their things together. Definitely use this time to come up with a strategic plan and think about and implement what you truly want to do. Think about all the episodes I talked about when it comes to this job market. Just know that we're about to enter into the second term of the Trump administration, and look at these numbers. Look at what's going on around you, and also look around what's going on within your community just in general. I think that's the most important thing I can say for sure. But I will say this year definitely was a rebuilding, a bridge year, and now we're crossing over that bridge. And I'm grateful for it. I will say this year definitely opened that door for me, especially with the fact that we rebranded this show, the fact that certain things that just weren't serving me personally had to go. But guess what? I got the clearance and the reassurance those things had to happen for a reason, because look at what's happening now. We're seeing so many changes within the industry, but then we're also seeing changes within people's lives. So I'm ready for this new era. Yes, I'm ready. And we're almost halfway through the 2020s, you guys. It's going to be 2030 soon. It's literally going to be 2030. The pandemic was what, 5 years ago? It's about to be 6 years ago soon. So I'm going to say this for the last what? For the last 4 years of this decade, what are you going to do? And I'm reason I'm saying 4 years is because, 2026, 6 plus 4 equals, 10. Okay. Use your math. Please use your math. But for the last 4 years of that decade, what changes do you want to implement? Where do you see yourself? What do you want to bring into your life? What kind of changes do you want to make in your life? What kind of things you want to get rid from your life? So think about that. And especially during the holidays is a hard time just because things happen. People are grieving. You guys know I've been grieving the death of my aunt. I also found out that somebody that I used to work with, actually their daughter passed away, right? Their daughter was pregnant and the child passed away, and then I guess her body went to shock and she passed away too. So this is definitely a tough time. So even with that too, I'm gonna see if I can share their GoFundMe or even their Cash App, just because a lot of things have changed in this person's life, and I always talk about the importance of being nice to the staff of the building, regardless if it is the janitor, the doorman. This person that I'm talking about is actually one of the janitorial staffs from the building, and they actually made a GoFundMe. So I will be sharing that over. But yes, definitely just express some positivity. That's all I can say when it comes to life update. But yeah. And one last thing, I was talking to a friend and she was like, "Oh, what's up? When you do a life update, like you keep it pretty private." Yeah, I do. I keep certain things private about my life. You don't need to know everything. And if I do talk about it, I usually talk about it when it's done happening or when it's like I've reflected on it and I've been able to process it. So sometimes when I share a life update, that's like good news or even an L that I took. It's usually 5 months, 6 months later after it happened. I need to process it. Or if it's something that's very, very good news, I'll probably talk about it when it's all into fruition. But yeah, when it comes to life update, I don't tell you guys until I'm comfortable with telling you guys or the humility. Because sometimes you just never know who's listening. I know, girl, you know who you are. That damn Virgo from my past. I know you still listen. I know. It's okay. It's okay. I know you miss me, honey. I know you miss me, but I don't miss you. Now, let's move on to these topics. It's so weird that I'm like editing as I go because I'm recording this during the daytime. You know, I record at night. And plus, I do have like a sister date with my sister where we will watch a show together and we're watching Only Manhattan. So I need to make sure I am all there for the commentary with my sister. But yeah, let's get on to these topics. So you already know the spiel. We always start with politics on this show because I feel like we need to know what's going on in this world because politics directly affects you regardless if it's general or locally or federally. So let's do the spiel. We come from many different places. We come from many different races. We come from many different ethnicities, many different socioeconomic backgrounds, many different educational backgrounds. But what brings us together? The economy and politics. Let's talk about what the Trump administration is fucking up this week. Okay, you guys. Well, a federal judge has announced that they want the Trump administration to restore disaster money for Democratic states. So I don't know if you guys know, Trump has always threatened and said that he's going to stop putting funding for Democratic states. Well, we just found out that they actually reduced more than $233 million of funding for Democratic states such as Connecticut, Delaware, I know it's not a state, but DC, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New York, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington. So now, after we're seeing all these situations, which is kind of crazy with the fact that like this administration does not even know how to allocate funds correctly anyways when it comes to disasters, because let's be real, we saw what happened when they had those floodings in Texas, and that's a very much Republican state. We saw what happens when it came to these other disasters. We know that currently right now it's wintertime in New York. We have all these snowstorms. We have nor'easters happening. We're seeing the flooding going on in California. So it makes sense, hey, you need to start bringing these funding because guess what too, Sherlock? Like, you're about to have a midterm elections coming up. Let's not forget that. The midterm elections are literally happening this, 2026, but that year, which is only a couple of days away. So we're going to start seeing campaign videos. We're going to start seeing people having debates, which we already saw with Jasmine Crockett and saying that she wants to run for Senate. So just be more ready for that, especially. And we're already seeing that right now. I have CNN on my TV right now, and it's saying like key 2026 Senate state races. So people are ready for these midterm elections. So if you think about it, that federal judge is trying to give them an alley-oop because it's like, hey, these disasters are happening, midterms are happening. Let's not forget either, a lot of people have been reflecting on who they've been voting for. So it's like, okay, well, they're going to think about what happened in Texas. They're going to think about these snowstorms. They're going to think about the flooding in California. They're going to think about was the funds even allocated for these disasters? Was FEMA ready for it? Was all the budget cuts really worth it? Let's not forget about the government shutdown as well, too. So that's all I got to say. But either way, what I'm really happy about is the fact that once we're in the new year, Zohran Mamdani is officially within and the mayor of New York City. So we're going to see a lot of changes with that, too, in addition to that. I know this is not a topic, but I just want to mention that with the electoral races where Democrats have won, pay attention to those cities, those states, because you're going to see how the laws are implicated within those cities or just areas and seeing how it's going to make a difference for just the citizens, constituaries that they like to say in the House. You're going to see how they're being treated when that happens, and you're going to get a preview of how it will look like once there is a blue wave. Since we are talking about like 2026 and these midterm elections, I do want to bring up the fact, and you guys know me, I like to talk about both sides. It really is time for the Republican Party to start thinking about 2028 and this this post Trump era, because he's almost done and he's not going to be the lead of that party. So what are you guys going to do about that? Because this is not my fight. This is not my fight. This is not my fight. Never was repping y'all. Never will be repping you guys. But what are you guys going to do? Because you guys have JD Vance. You're noticing the crackdown of a lot of folks who are super MAGA. They're starting to fade away from that. So who is going to be the face or the leader of the Republican Party currently? Because currently it's going through a phase of like extremism. And I think even with the fact that I have to bring up astrology, we're entering into we're currently in Pluto and Aquarius, which has to do with major shifts, twists and turns, and exposures of certain things that have to happen to make that change. And that's currently happening of the dismantling of this MAGA movement, and the fact that people specifically within that movement are definitely gluttons for punishment. And now they're realizing that the punishment that they've been gluttoning for is not helping them out at all. So what are the head leaders like the Mitch McConnells, the Mike Johnsons, which once again, anytime I bring up Mike Johnson, I just want to call him sweet just because of the whole grinder situation. But what are they going to do? Because the Mike Johnson's got to go. You're also seeing that a lot of them are backing out and actually not trying to go up for re-election. So what is going to happen? We're also hearing about these young Republicans and their situation and how they're not going up for re-election just because of the problematic things that they've said. One thing I'm happy about for sure is I'm happy you guys are not going up for re-election. You know who I'm really happy about is Miss Stefanik is not going up against Miss Kathy Hochul for governor of New York, because please, having that as a governor, oh my God, thank God it's not happening. But still, what are you guys going to do? Because if you guys vote for JD Vance, you're going to get bootleg Trump, and everybody's tired of that. He's not going to get elected. So what are you guys going to do? Are you guys going to go back into the drawing board and bring in someone like a Mitt Romney to go against whoever is going to be that contender, which I think is going to be Gavin Newsom? What are you guys going to do? This is not my problem, because I'm not repping y'all. I'm repping blue. Although I did say that, honestly, I'm going to have to start being an independent just because the way you guys are moving, just in general when it comes to Democrats. But I'm always going to vote blue. I'm just saying. But still, what are you guys going to do? Because 2026, that's only 2 more years of this administration, and time is going by fast right now. So how are you guys going to do in 2028? Because society's about to change, and we've seen a lot of shifts in society. So get ready for that. And especially with the way this economy is moving, yeah, a lot of the focus when it comes to these campaigns for elections is going to be, how can we rebuild the economy? How can we bring in financial stability to Americans? You guys talk about home ownership all the time. How can we make sure that millennials, specifically younger millennials and Gen Zers, are able to afford the air quote American dream? There are people who are able to financially support themselves and have a home. And there are some people who are trying to live up to the American dream and not realizing that currently right now they cannot do it, right? We know the aspect of how some people are home broke. They have the home, but they cannot afford the necessities to keep it up to par. So that's another aspect of it as well too. So what are you going to do to make sure that first-time buyers, or even those looking to put their house back in the market, what is that going to be? Because honestly, it's not making any sense, and it's to the point where we're hearing about people staying at home just to secure some more funds before they step out into the world. So that's another conversation as well too. But then also addressing those situations. But I don't know what it is for these Republicans. Good luck. Y'all made your mess. Honestly, I feel like to really recoup everything and the damage that this administration has done within this 1 year, we're at least going to need to have a Democratic president from 2028 to at least 2048. I know you're like, that's a long time. But honestly, sometimes you're going to need a nice little 20 years of a Democratic president just for everything to be aligned. And this makes me think about, like, how would have things been if Hillary had won? How things would have been if Hillary had won? That is something we'll always think about still to this day. Let's move on to like the financial aspect of these topics. So I don't know if you guys know, but what they're saying is that although people talked about the aspect of like economic pressures and all that jazz, the crazy thing is during the holidays, starting from like November 1st to like December 21st of this year, over like 3.9% of shoppers spent more than what they expected to spend throughout this whole holiday season. Remember, we are currently in the United States of Klarna, Afterpay, Zezzle, Affirm, credit cards, scams. So a lot of people are swiping their cards or doing buy now and pay laters. We saw the increase of buy now pay laters. You can literally book a flight with a buy now pay later. Enjoy the trip while you're still paying it off, right? Doing these things to the amount that you're seeing people racking up not only credit card debt, they're racking up debt with buy nows and pay laters, which I always say is buy now and pay laters has its benefits, but you have to be responsible just like with what? A credit card. Because guess what? You're going to have to pay it back. Yes, people have used buy now, pay laters to finance things, but also you got to realize too is buy now, pay later is just layaway but regurgitated, and you just receive the item and you just got to pay it while you have it. It's like you financing something. That's simply what it is. But still, we're seeing the rise of it. We know there are people who probably for this holiday season were like, oh yeah, the kids got to get clothes, the kids got to get toys. And they're like, okay, here Klarna, here Afterpay, here it is. Every 2 weeks, take it out your check. But even with that too is it's getting to the point where people are basically using this as their main payment method now. There are people going to the grocery store with Klarna cards, because I don't know if you guys know, brands like Venmo, Afterpay, Klarna, what else? Affirm, they're now partnering with major banks like WebBank to actually have like credit cards and also debit cards with that. And they're even coming up with like rewards programs where you can actually get certain points and rewards and cash back through those cards. So they're trying to become like their own digital bank as a certain extent too, if you think about it. It is beneficial for those who may not have like credit. Like, yeah, that's a way for them to boost their credit because those entities actually do report to the credit bureaus. Before they didn't, but I guess to the point where, guess what? People took advantage of that system, so they had to start reporting to credit. But not only that as well too, I think there was a certain point where Afterpay would actually let you order your items without putting a down payment. So let's say, for example, you order an item today on December 28th. You wouldn't really have to start paying that item until next week. So you would basically get a week of not having to pay it until you pay it the week after, because they do it in increments of like every 2 weeks. So you essentially were giving like an extra week to not even think about that payment depending on your financial situation. But I guess people took so much advantage of it where they wasn't paying it to the point where they had to get rid of it. Or even with the fact that these entities actually give people the opportunity to like still pay these things off, but giving them, hey, if you want to switch a date, here, switch the date. So I can say for sure when it comes to these buy now pay laters, yeah, it's an alternative, but it's not something that you can live off of for the rest of your life, right? Because you're just going to be regurgitating and just piling up debt. And I know people are like, well, it's America, piling up debt. But yeah, but still, you should not be having or owing $10,000 to Klarna. You should not. You should not. Go set a limit. Go set a freaking limit. But I have friends who were in corporate, got laid off, and they're currently working retail. And they were telling me with the fact that they have customers coming in, and these customers are complaining for the fact that they have to spend money and everything like that. And it's like, if you are complaining, why are you spending money? Why are you buying people's gifts? If you simply do not want to pay 59 cents for your order that's remaining, that's a you problem. That means you do not have 2 quarters. You do not have 2 quarters, a nickel, and 4 pennies. 2 quarters, a nickel, and 4 pennies to go pay for something that you bought with a gift card. You can't lash out the 59 cents on your debit card, bitch. That's a problem. That's a major problem. And then the other aspect my friend was telling me was the fact that, in New Jersey, stores close on Sundays, and then people will go and shop in New York and complain about taxes and be like, oh, can you write off the tax? No, you can't, you dumbass. Y'all want people to remove $9 of taxes? You want to do some time in the prison system in New York? Then do that for $9. And I literally told my friend, I was like, did you tell them this? Here's a few things about when it comes to, as somebody who's worked with the United Nations, but also interned with the United Nations, I'm going to tell you who can get a tax exemption. If you own a charity, you are a diplomat, you work at a mission for another country, or you just have the exemption. Do you work for a certain sector of the government that gives you an exemption? Then you can have a tax exemption. You also need to have a form. There's one that has an eagle on it, and there's one that has another animal on it. So unless you have that, you cannot get a tax exemption, Shelly. You cannot get a tax exemption, sweetie. You cannot get a tax exemption, Mia Moore. You cannot get that. I'm sorry. Deal with it. Then what you need to do is wait until the stores in your area open and you can go shopping that time. And stop with the last minute shopping, because my friend was complaining about that. I hope you guys do know, like, Black Friday sales now last for a whole month. And the best sales y'all getting are Black Friday sales. That's all I got to say. But honestly, for me, when it came to giving people gifts, y'all got gift cards. That's what I do. Get a gift card. You like to shop here. Oh, you got a card? Here's a gas station gift card, because gas is not cheap. One thing about me, you give me a gas station gift card, because my car takes premium gas. I am grateful. Thank you so much. Vroom, vroom, out of here. Thank you. But yes, people are spending their money still, but they're either penny pinching or just accruing more debt to spend what they want to spend, or just make sure. But even with that too, I've noticed that malls are emptier. Certain places are emptier. People are looking for deals. And even with that, you'll see people going to these stores and buying these items and still trying to negotiate a deal. But it's like, that's the company's policy. You can't negotiate that. This is not a pawn shop. Think about that as well too. Just go to your local thrift shop. You can negotiate deals at your thrift shop depending on your situation. But still, if you really want to go negotiate a deal, go to Canal Street. Go to the pawn shop. Leave these people's businesses alone. They can't do anything to help you out. And don't be giving a sob story, because some people don't care about a sob story. I hate to break it to you. Some people really don't care about a sob story. More news to discuss. The Department of Homeland Security actually went through like a whole holiday campaign where they were giving out $3,000 for people to basically self-deport themselves. Which, do you want to deport yourself for $3,000? $3,000. Is $3,000 worth it? I think it depends on the country. Depends on the country. It depends on the value of the American dollar in that country. And it depends on what's going on in that country. But $3,000 to have people self-deport themselves, especially if they built their whole lives in this country, families and everything, yeah, I don't know about that. $3,000, I could have understood if you were saying if you added a couple more figures to it. You think someone's going to deport themselves or self-deport themselves for $3,000? They're not doing that. They're not. They are not doing that. Even for the aspect of y'all are not even really paying ICE agents a lot of money, because I just found this out from a friend who actually works in law enforcement. And he was telling me that there are folks who are working for the police department and they're getting paid $100K when they're actually working for their precinct. And some of them have gone off to work for ICE. So they went from making $150K. I'm just putting numbers out there. Doesn't mean really that's the actual number. They're making $150K at their precinct, but then decide to go to ICE and they take a major pay cut, going from 150 down to 65K. And I was like, oh, well, are you thinking about going to ICE? He's like, oh, hell no. He's like, I got family from another country. Why would I go to ICE? I said, okay, just checking, because, I got to make sure you might be one of the good ones or the bad ones. But yeah, not me getting exclusive tea about certain things going on in the justice system, specifically when it comes to law enforcement. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. And yes, this friend that I'm talking about, he's been on this podcast before. on one of the episodes, a group episode, but I can't tell you guys who it is. But just know he's a mess. He is a major mess. But you know what? That's what happens. That he wants to be somebody's protector and provider. So ladies, my friend's single, but I'll talk about it another time. I'm not gonna give you all the details. Moving on to more news about this administration. I just want to end this administration right now. But lawmakers are actually considering filing articles of impeachment against Attorney General Pam Bondi over the redacted statements on the Epstein files. And I'm here for it. Get rid of Pam Bondi. She does not know how to do her job. Honestly, majority of the, well, I can't even say majority. The whole freaking administration don't know how to do their job. They don't. They don't. They don't. Get rid of them. Get rid of all of them. See ya. See ya. Like Drake said, sick of these. Sick of these. Get rid of these. That's it. Sick of these. Get rid of these. That's all I have to say. Please, because the fact that you put out those files, you guys took all those days and put it out during that due date. And it really was like no sense. Why did you even put this out? We already knew all the information. We saw the pictures. What was the point? What was the point if you were going to put it out like this? We already knew what was going on, but it's the fact that it just looked like somebody took a highlighter and just highlighted every single page in those files. It was just like, we waited for this. We waited for this. I'd rather just have the victims do an interview and them talk about those situations, but I don't want to see somebody relive the trauma that they experienced. That's just me. I don't want to see that. And one last thing I just want to bring up before I close out this politics topic, and then we move on to like New York news and then on to celebrity news. I don't know if you guys know, but with the aspect of like healthcare subsidies and the fact that they still cannot vote on it to an agreement, a lot of small businesses and like small business owners are about to become uninsured because they will not be able to afford these things, right? They're not going to be able to afford insurance. We're going to see a rising uptick of just people going off to places such as Mexico, like crossing the border just so they can get some decent health care done, right? We already see that on TikTok where we're seeing people crossing the border so they can go get dentistry done, right? Because we know that dental care does cost money. We're seeing that already currently right now, although we can talk about plastic surgery and the fact that people do go overseas to get plastic surgery done, but that is more of, it's not like a very much needed surgery. It's more of a cosmetic thing, more of a leisure rather than a necessity, right? It's something, yeah, you can do it, but it's like, that's not something that your insurance will actually like, be like, yeah, we'll cover it. So when I talk about like anything revolving dentistry or like just going to get a colonoscopy or something like that, that's something your insurance will insure, not like a hair transplant or you going to get a BBL with Dr. Dra Lily in the DR. Yeah, she's an actual doctor. I'm serious. You're like, what's the Dra Lily? Yeah, that's an actual doctor. She's done work for some of your faves, but I'm not going to talk about her. But still, we're seeing that, and it's to the point where I was reading an article about how a small business, I don't know where, but somewhere in the East Coast, where one of the owners, she actually has cancer, and she's just like, yeah, she's just counting her time, or she's going to have to go overseas to get treatment done because of how things are. She might even have to go to Canada to get treatment. But also, too, is when it comes to Canada, that's another conversation, which I do have to bring one of my Canadian family members on, just to talk about how healthcare is different in Canada and the way that they do their taxes and everything like that, because they have high taxes over there as well. Well, can we just have like a moment of silence for the Metro card? Let's have a little moment of silence. Rest in peace to the Metro card. You've done amazing things for New Yorkers when it came to commuting, just getting around the city. Although you've gone up in price throughout the years, you will be missed. You've made an impact not only to the lives of mine, but also my friends. You've had limited edition versions such as the Supreme version, the Wu-Tang Metro card, the Barbie Metro card, and many other figures within pop culture, right? Well, guess what? You have been rested and laid down now that we are entering into a more technical technology phase of when it comes to commuting. So yes, Metro cards are out of the door, you guys. They want you to use your phone and use, your tap to pay to go through the train. If you want to go commute, take the train, you need to tap to pay. And what they're saying is as well too is that like you can purchase like an Omni card for like $1 in the vending machines at the subway, but still that doesn't benefit people who like take cash, right? So some people don't have debit cards, some people don't have credit cards, and it's just due to, guess what? There's some people here who may not have documentation to be able to go to a bank to set up an account. So guess what? They get paid through cash, right? Which we do live now in a cashless society almost. But currently, they are offering for people to purchase that Omni card at the subway station for like $1. But eventually, you're going to have to start filling up that card through a debit card or even a credit card. I will say, if you got a Metro card, hold on to it. Hold on to it like those Beanie Babies. It might be worth something in the future, so I'm going to say hold on to it. I didn't even say hold on to your pennies because pennies are out of here. So if you find a penny on the floor, pick it up because you just never know. It might be worth something in the future. You just never know. But if you have like one of those limited edition Metro cards, hold on to that tight. You have something that will be worth something way better in the future. I can personally say this because I have a bag I bought from Coach. This was before you guys went back walking to Coach. This was when Coach had Ariana Grande, Selena Gomez, and what's his name? Michael B. Jordan as their spokespersons, right? This was like circa 2016, 2015, 2000, around that time. I have a Michael B. Jordan bag that I purchased around for like what, $90? And then I got a discount on it. Why is it being on resale for like $300? I'm holding on to that because I feel like the price is about to go all the way up. And it's a limited edition bag too. Never been used. That's so bad. They're like, you have that bag in your closet, you never use it. Because, I just haven't thought about the event to wear it to. But seeing how the resale market for it is going up, I might just keep it in good condition and just let it do what it has to do and just keep it pushing, honestly. But regardless, rest in peace to the Metro card. And now moving on to more laws that have been implemented in New York. New York will now require social media platforms that use features like infinite scrolling like TikTok and autoplay to display warning labels about potential harm to young users of mental health under a new law announced by Governor Kathy Hochul. The measure targets what the state calls addictive feeds and allows the Attorney General to seek civil penalties of up to $5,000 per violation for platforms operating partially or fully in New York. That means you're going to start seeing more like, so not just throughout social media, but you're going to see more like mental health warnings throughout your social media accounts, right? Because we know that social media does have a huge impact when it comes to younger generations. We already see that with Gen Z, even the aspect of how they communicate with people and how they just simply cannot communicate. I literally did a 80-page thesis about how reality TV and social media is currently shaping the minds of not only young millennials, but also early Gen Z, and how it's really not preparing them to be adults that can socialize fully, but also navigate through the world of just what we're dealing with, right? It's kind of like, okay, these current, like the kids who are growing up right now have not experienced what it's like to watch Nickelodeon and then putting the broadcast on pause for you to go play outside. It's to the point where people have no issues with being in the talking phase with somebody and never talking on the phone with them or getting on FaceTime. As someone like myself, I value a phone call and a FaceTime call. I value that. I want to hear your voice. Give me some voice notes. Let's have a conversation. I am very much that type of person. If I cannot get on the phone with you, that's a problem. That is a problem for me. In addition as well too, social media does have an impact with this lonely epidemic that we're currently talking about when it comes to all genders as well too, because people are constantly separated. They're not going out to events. You'll go to like parties and everyone's at their phones. You'll go to concerts. People are not actually enjoying the show. They're recording it on their phone. I go to a concert, my phone is down. I'm going to experience the experience. If you didn't get your tickets, whoop-de-doo, you don't get to see the show. But I think it is important that they do like actually find these companies, because think about how many like young kids or even young adults that unalive themselves due to social media, due to cyberbullying. Like I, as somebody who got bullied throughout a good chunk of their childhood, starting from elementary school to high school, as someone who's been bullied, I always say, I wish these bullying laws were around when I was young, because a lot of y'all would have been in fucking jail, bitch. Locked up. Like Akon said, they won't let you out. But y'all got a chance. But you know what? Karma came and hit y'all. That spiritual karma reevaluation came and hit y'all. So I got my redemption. But still to this day, it is crazy how social media is causing not only like body dysmorphia for people, it's causing the comparison Olympics where people are thinking like this. It's even the aspect of where it's making people think that, dang, is their life truly like worth it? Like there are people probably thinking that just looking at somebody's social media feed. And I'm gonna let you know, everything you see on social media is not real. A lot of these influencers that you see on their platform, they ain't shit. You're talking to somebody who's worked with influencers. You're talking to somebody who emailed influencers. You're talking to somebody who has worked with their managers and their agents. And really, some of these people don't know anything. They don't know anything, or sometimes they don't even have it like that. A lot of times they're buying things and returning it just like you do. So don't compare yourself to somebody on the internet, because the internet's not real. It's really not, because there's real life to it. And even when you talk about these brand deals and everything like that, I just want to let you know they're making all that money, and some of them are not even putting some funds away so they can pay their taxes. Some of them haven't paid their taxes. Do you want to owe the IRS? I know you don't, because I don't. But either way, I'm going to say this again: pay attention to laws implemented in states like New York or California, because eventually other states are going to follow suit to it. We already know they had their whole situation with social media in Australia and how they're getting strict with their social media laws when it comes to young adults and just teens and kids. This is happening right now. This is that transition. So don't be surprised once we hear this happening in California. We hear it happening in Illinois. We hear it happening in Pennsylvania and all these other states. Just recognize that. And another thing too, and I know a lot of people are like, AI. I don't know, you guys. I feel like with the fact that we're hearing about all these situations going on with AI, how people are using it as a conversation tool, I will personally say use AI with discernment, because I have to bring up, I don't know why it popped in my head, but use AI with discernment. Use it to your advantage to help you level up and build a strategy. I know some people use it to have a conversation and everything. That's cool too. But just realize that it's not an actual person. It is not. And also, I think they're going to have laws where they regulate AI as well too, because let's not forget too, recently there were a couple people who unalived themselves due with the help of AI, where AI was actually persuading it to do it, which is crazy. But it's like, okay, how are we going to really go through the software? And if, God forbid, we go through a situation like this, how can we prevent this from happening so someone does not lose their life? Because that's not a joke at all. But you know what we can do? Let's talk about a joke. Well, Nicki Minaj has quit her Instagram page because she lost 10 million followers after being at the Turning Point convention speaking to Erica Kirk and just spewing so much hate, ignorance, a lot of shucking and jiving, you know? Now, the Caribbean community, you know, this is not a Haitian situation, because a lot of Caribbean people, y'all don't like to claim Haitians as Caribbean because we do not speak patois. So this is your issue. If you make curry chicken, curry goat, this is your issue. Haitians don't eat curry. Now, let's talk about this. Nikki, Onika, you really, the ego is so real to the point where you're going down this lane and it's not going to benefit you. It's really going to taint your status as a legend. I'm putting air quotes now because this is not legendary status. This is not legendary status. This is just quick fame. You know this is going to go down the drain. I hope you pay attention to how things are going to change once we get to midterms. You really screwed yourself over. And I have to say this as well too. And I can say, oh, well, what's the you and Nicki Minaj fan? I get that. but I can own up to my mistakes. I can. But I just want to say this to everyone. A lot of things that Nicki Minaj said were very disgusting. But am I surprised she said those things? No. Nicki Minaj's fan base are mainly what I can say. You have a group of women, but then you have a group of Black and Latino queer men, right? Specifically within the LGBTQIAA plus community. Nicki has never been an ally to the LGBTQIAA plus community. I have to say that. If you've watched old interviews and how she talked about things, she always tied it back to her Christianity. She's always tied it up for her Christianity. And if she did give some props to the LGBTQIA community, it was mainly for performative action, just so she can get some monetary gain from it. But honestly, she was never an ally to begin with, which is why I'm not surprised that all these things that she said that. She was never an ally. She might have had a couple folks in her team, but guess what? She was only doing it for performative and just because she was paying you to make her look good. She was never an ally for that. And I hope that the Barbs do wake up and realize, hey, you don't need to support this. She never really supported you. She was just taking your money. I don't know what the freak kind of pills and potions she's under. But then again, too, look who she married. Who you marry is a representation of how you see yourself. That's enough for me to say this. I already deleted everything. Honestly, Nicki, you should have stayed with that Jamaican man. You would have never been in this situation had you stayed with Safari. Everything went downhill once you ended up with Meek Mill and those damn dirt bikes in freaking Philly screaming all over the damn fucking mic. That's what it is. All eyes on you. Got the Barbs going crazy. That's crazy. Wow. All your legacy down the drain. Which I feel like a lot of like the MAGA celebrities don't realize, like, we're about to enter into a blue society. What are you going to do? Because this fan base isn't really that strong. And that cult is about to go tumbling down. If you're telling me major figures who are part of the MAGA movement are slowly departing themselves from Trump, that shows you enough what the trend is. So pay attention to that. But I really think, let's not forget, Nicki Minaj isn't a U.S. citizen. It's crazy. How have you been in this country since you were young and you did not even think about, go get your citizenship? The citizenship test is not hard. It's not. You just got to know a couple things and then boom, you're an American. Like, honestly, I'm going to be honest. They have a petition to get Nicki deported. And yep, I was one of the people that signed it. Yep. See you, sis. See ya. Take your husband with you too. But wait, her husband is American. You see it? Think about that. You marry an American, but you couldn't get that together so you can be naturalized to an American. But then also too is I don't even care anymore because honestly, you just tarnish your whole legacy. All the bars you gave, over it. Done. I'm done. I had to delete the freaking Flawless remix. Everything had to be deleted. It just had to. Because this is very disgusting, very disturbing. The fact that you try to go head to toe with Gavin Newsom, which is freaking crazy. Some of the things that you were saying. And then you were on stage sounding like you was coked up, sis. You was sounding like you was coked up. Talking all these things. I was like, did somebody sedate her with something? Talking like you did the episode of Steven Universe that you did back in the day. It was just giving very much performative. And you think they were laughing with you. No, bitch, they were laughing at you, you dumbass. Gosh. You're out here sitting down saying thank you for helping the unaliving of Christians in Nigeria when your whole fucking country that you come from is about to be a fucking war zone, you dumbass. It's about to be a war zone. So what are you going to do about that? And just to bring up the aspect of what's going on in Nigeria, not only Christians are being unalived, Muslims are being unalived too. So it's just not a religion thing. It's just a whole geographical situation. Because I feel like every single time they try to make it a religion thing, but it's like, no. Christians and Muslims are being killed. So let's not try to do this here and that. And then also, Nicki, if you're such a Christian, some of the things that you've been doing for your career doesn't seem very Christian-like. It gives very much performative. If you really think about it. one thing about me when it comes to Christianity, religion, I will always give props to people who are actually intentionally following their faith with God. But that like performative shit, I don't fuck with y'all. The intentional folks, and I know there's some people who are intentional and listen to this show. I know y'all don't get offended by it because you guys know what I'm calling out. But y'all who do the performative shit, I know what y'all doing. And I peep it. But Onika, Tanya, Mirage, Petty, you have very much tarnished your legacy. Honestly, you tarnished your legacy ever since you did not open that door for the young girls that were just coming in just to even have a chance in the industry. You already had your spot. Honestly, this is the karma for what you did to Little Kim. But now it's a little bit stronger than that. Just because guess what? You have more of a spotlight on you rather than Little Kim did at that time, right? So your downfall is just going to be seen, and it's going to be like, dang, here's Onika Tani Mirage, one of the top rappers hailing from Queens, New York, that went from rapping about girl power and empowerment and instead is spewing out hate. And I'm going to keep saying this. I'm not surprised by a lot of the things that Nicki Minaj said, even when she talked about trans folks, even when she talked about the LGBTQIA community. Once again, if you pay attention and follow Nicki Minaj when it comes to interviews, because that's something I do, regardless of what public figure it is, she never was an advocate or an ally. She never was. I have to say that. She never advocated. And the only time she really did, she did it very minimally. And the way that she did it was very performative. That's all I got to say. But Nicki Minaj, yes, I signed that petition. Go sign that petition. I think the petition already has 42,000 signatures for her to get deported back to Trinidad. Girl, goodbye. Bye. Let's segue to some more Caribbean news. You guys see how I'm going with these little segues and these little moving on to the next topics? You guys gotta give me props. I put these topics together in 3 minutes. Well, I did talk about the patois speaking, English speaking Caribbean folks, the ones who eat curry and dumpling. Well, Haitians, I didn't talk to y'all right now because I'm very disappointed on how some of y'all are supporting this type of wicked energy. So I don't know if you guys know, but Haitian TV star, influencer, podcaster, and also a resident of Tamarack, Florida. Shout out to my cousin because he's the mayor of Tamarack, Florida. So I will be getting the information on this. But Karel, I can't even pronounce this man's name, and I freaking speak Creole. But Karel Padre, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. I don't really care for him. Whenever I see him on my Instagram, I keep swiping. But he has actually been arrested for domestic violence. Yes, I guess police came on the scene and trying to break up a fight that he had with his girlfriend, and he got arrested. Let's not forget too, is Karel is actually not even an American citizen. I think he was on TPS, or I think he was on a visa, green card. Shelly, baby, I don't know. All I know is Karel is currently on his way to Alligator Alcatraz, and they're about to deport his ass back to Port-au-Prince. And this is what I'm going to say is, deport him. Yup, I'm going to say it. You got to go. I'm sorry. I know I'm going to sound so problematic. Be like, oh, what's this one of your people? I actually know people who know this man. I feel like you guys tend to forget how well connected I am when it comes to the industry in both phases. Like I have a cousin that's married to a very popular Netflix star, which we'll talk about that another time. But I'm very much connected, and I know somebody very close who knows this man, has been on this man's show. She was supposed to come on this show, but you know what, girl? I don't know after this. But she probably won't come on because I talk shit about him. But I haven't seen you address this whole situation, which is why I just realized there's a petition to stop this man from getting deported. And I'm like, this man literally put his hands on a woman. A Haitian woman, to be exact, because I see a bunch of y'all Haitians citing that damn freaking thing, and some non-Haitians saying, oh, well, without Kyle, I would not know about Haitian culture. No. He put his hands on a woman. He shouldn't have done that. You already knew what kind of status you were in this country, and with the current president that we have, you thought you were not going to get locked up and get deported, and you're in freaking Florida, you dumbass. You should not be putting your hands on women. And if this was reversed, I would have said the same thing. And the crazy, ironic thing about this whole case, the judge's name is Chris Brown. The judge's name is Chris Brown. And mind you, Kyle actually has a large following. He has over 900K followers on Instagram. He has a podcast with this other Haitian influencer. That shit's down the drain. Doing all these interviews. You were doing things with French artists as well too. You were kind of opening that door for yourself for being somebody who was from Haiti, had a platform, was in the US for a bit because Haiti's going through so much turmoil currently right now. And look at that now. You're about to get deported to Haiti, which he could go to the DR and still have his entities, which does have its benefits. You know what I mean? But still, you put your hands on a woman. And I'm seeing all you guys trying to support this man. I'm very disturbed and disgusted, but I'm not surprised. If Chris Brown still has a support system, if R. Kelly still has a support system, I'm not surprised Kyle still has a support system. But a lot of you Haitian artists that I see still not addressing this, because I know some of you Haitian artists. I personally know some of you guys. You guys are not addressing this. That's crazy. And it's bringing me back to how, 3 years ago, I talked about this Haitian musician. Her name is Michelle Guillemette. I can't pronounce these last names. Sorry. Still, I'm American. Okay? Still born in America. So, excuse me. Because I know some Haitians, y'all love to talk about Haitian Americans. But, still, Rochelle is kind of like, I want to call her Beyonce. You know, like I always say there's like a Beyonce for like a sector of music within the diaspora. There's like a Beyonce, like the head OG for it. But she's not a Beyonce, okay? I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you. She's more of like a Sierra. She still has a good career. She sings better than Sierra. She's probably going to marry a rich Middle Eastern Haitian, live her life, and be in a G-Wagon and a Rolls Royce in Miami. She'll be fine, right? Okay. She had cheated on the artist Rudy Rude Boy. Once again, Haitian artist from Haiti. What is up with these names? Hit Boy Maker 509, Rudy Rude Boy. The only Haitian artist born in Haiti that I've noticed has a regular freaking name is Steve J. Bryant and Oswald. The rest of y'all, mess. But she cheated on Rudy Rude Boy, and Rudy Rude Boy put his hands on her. And there are some of y'all praising that, which is crazy. I am disturbed and disgusted. I get it, you got cheated on, but you should not be putting your hands on people. Period. I don't play about DV. I don't play about none of those things. I really don't. But still, it's the fact that y'all got a petition and y'all are really trying to make sure this man stays in the States. There are other Haitian influencers or public figures that are from Haiti that probably may have a small platform, but are doing the work that he's doing and not problematic. I could even say there are Haitian Americans that are still pushing Haiti and mainly talking about news going on in Haiti, and they might have a small platform and doing better work than him. Why don't you go support those small creators? Right? Somebody might be like, well, what about yourself? I talk about everything. I don't even talk about news in Haiti. I talk about everything, okay? I'm the type of person, when I think about what I want to do, I try to talk about things where you can find me on MSNBC or on a CNN and on all these other things too. So that's what I had to say. Don't have a niche. If you want to have a niche, you can have a niche. But if your niche is secular to like Caribbean news, specifically like Haitian news, then I'm just telling you guys, there are other outlets and platforms. He put his hands on a woman. And if you support him, or if you're not addressing this, especially if you are from the community, that tells me enough about you and what you're willing to tolerate and what you're willing to see your family members tolerate too. But I will be getting the tea because my cousin is a mayor in Tamarack, Florida. So I will be getting the information. One thing for sure, the tea comes my way. Now let's move on to American celebrity news. And let's start with lawsuits going on right now. Well, I don't know if you guys know, Tyler Perry is being sued. Trigger warning, alleged essay. The actor was actually in the Halloween special for Madea, and he is suing Tyler Perry for $77 million. Well, isn't this like the second lawsuit that came out this year about regarding Tyler Perry? And we know there was a whole situation with Christian Keys, 2 years ago? So it's interesting to see how things are playing out with this. It's kind of crazy how they decided to like pull out this news right now, but then again too, it's the holidays. So it's like people are going to pay attention to this, but not really because they're still focused on the holidays. But yeah, Tyler Perry has another lawsuit, and a lot of people are trying to match up the stories with one another. Some people are thinking, okay, if this did happen, are they going to court for the finances, or are they just wanting him to go to jail? So a lot of people are trying to figure this out as well. Either way, I have to say this, we're just gonna have to wait for the evidence to keep popping up. That's why I'm saying allegedly, because honestly, with all these damn freaking lawsuits going on, I'm tired. I'm tired. I am tired. But we'll see if this goes further within court. I guess Tyler Perry's legal team hasn't said anything, but we'll see if this goes forward in court or if they settle this behind the scenes. But either way, yep, Tyler Perry is getting sued again, once again. And this is bringing up the conversation regarding his sexuality and all that jazz. But still, when it comes to the conversations about DVSA, take those things very seriously. Justice for the victims. And that's all I got to say. That's pretty much what I got to say when it comes to that. 77 million. Hey, I don't know if you're going to get the whole millions. You might get something else. Don't forget those lawyer fees. I don't know if your lawyer is pro bono. Check those hours because they are on a retainer. They are. Just saying. But regardless, a lot of people are trying to match up the stories because some of the stories between those two victims, the one that was on that one show and the one that was on this film, the stories kind of align in the aspect of his place and him like bringing up the conversation about these certain situations. But we'll just have to see how things play out in 2026. But also, we're going to see how when it comes to like lawsuits and even trials coming up in 2026, let's not forget Luigi. Luigi trial is going to be something big. The Reiner case is going to be something very big. And especially since you can actually watch it because it's in California. You know, they don't allow court cameras, nothing in New York. But that Nick Reiner case, yeah, you got to be there. The Little Dirk case, girl, I do not care about this Little Dirk case. I'm going to be honest. Little Dirk, you have beat the court so many times. You put in a hit for unaliving somebody and you get caught. And it's the way you got caught using your company card when you're very much affiliated with that specific brand. A hit for hire, that's on you, sir. That's on you. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. That's all I can say. Good luck. But I also wanted to update you guys that Brian Walsh, the man that we spoke about who unalived his wife, that Nepo baby who had money and his father didn't leave him any money, so he scammed a bunch of people, unalived his wife. Well, he's actually found guilty and he's going to be locked up in prison. And sadly, those kids lost their mother and they lost their shitty ass father in that addition. And yeah, Brian Walsh is going to prison. And this happened in Massachusetts. But I had to bring up that update. But another trial we will be paying attention to is that dentist that unalived his wife so he can be with the side chick, and then the side chick that want to be him with, and the side chick was also a dentist too. Just a hot mess, an overall hot mess. But we'll keep you guys updated on that, and I'll keep you guys updated on the whole Tyler Perry situation as well too. I'm just waiting for more further updates on that. Now let's talk about big deals that have been signed. If you guys don't know, Charlamagne the God recently signed a $200 million deal with iHeartMedia, which means that there's going to be more funding provided for his Black Effect network, right? But then also, let's not forget the aspect of how Netflix is partnering with iHeart to show these podcasts on Netflix exclusively, which means, guess what? You're not going to see some of your favorite podcasts on YouTube anymore. So you might have to pay to go watch, for example, The Brilliant Idiots on Netflix. Or I don't know if Rory and Mal, they're also on iHeart. So you're going to be watching them on there rather than seeing their content on YouTube anymore. So you won't be able to watch it for free. It's going to be like Patreon, where you're still paying monthly for Netflix and you can watch it on there. I think this is going to cause a rise of like audio only podcasts. I don't know what it is, but audio only has always been in trend because it's like a lot of people listen to podcasts when they're driving. They're not watching a video. Like when I watch like YouTube videos, and I have YouTube Premium, I don't really watch the video. I just listen to the audio. Unless it's like a video where I really have to pay attention to it. Like recently, I've noticed that like these scammer videos where people have been scamming, they get caught by the cops. I watch that just to see how they react in their body language. But other than that, if I'm watching a deep dive or anything, I just listen to it. That's why I don't really need a visual. But we're noticing the rise of the podcast industry and how like the podcast industry is going to start booming. It's always been booming, but we're starting to see it cement itself more within the public media. We're starting to see the fact that more like smaller podcasts are starting to get that notoriety and that drive and that push. And I think personally, you had to start a podcast now, or if you've had one for quite a while, you're going to start seeing more people gravitate towards it just because people are tired of traditional media and people want different aspects. And also, this is just going to cement for like media conglomerates or just brands to start creating a podcast sector for their companies, because a lot of the time podcasts, they make their money through ads, distribution deals, similar to like labels, but it's a little bit different. And we're hearing about how like podcasters are getting around like what, 200 million, 20 million. The freaking girl, what's her name, Alex Cooper from Call Her Daddy, she just signed a $125 million deal for her podcast. So don't sleep on podcasts. Don't sleep on them at all. That's all I got to say about that. But congrats to Charlemagne. And I know that Ebro had stated some statements about Charlemagne and Stephen A. Smith and saying that he sold out. Are we surprised about it? Let's be real. Throughout the whole like campaign for Kamala Harris, we saw how Charlemagne was talking. Were you guys surprised about this? I was not surprised about this. Even when it comes to like Stephen A. Smith, I was not surprised about this. I have to say this, y'all have too much big expectations for some of these people when you already see how they communicate or how they act within their platforms. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised at all. I still haven't forgotten what Stephen A. Smith said about Jasmine Crockett. We haven't forgotten about these things, right? Don't be surprised. So if you're surprised about this, I'm shocked, because have you guys not listened to their content? And even in the past, and that's the thing you can say is for sure, they've always been problematic. But now we're kind of in the times where, yes, people are waking up and realizing that, oh, this is something crazy that shouldn't have been said, right? They're still saying those things, but they just elevated their language to it, right? Where, yeah, you kind of saw the growth in their content, but was it intentional, or did they just mask it with different language? That's why I always say to people, keep the content up, because eventually everybody goes through a scandal. But is there proof that you've grown from whatever you did in the past to who you are today? Because that's the most important thing is, yes, you did something problematic, but is there growth from that problematicism? And I'm talking about depending on what the situation is, because there's certain things you're not going to pass with me, but still, that's all I got to say. And when it comes to like Ebro in the morning, I know that Ebro, Laura Stiles, and Rosenberg now have their own show on YouTube. Honestly, independent media is the wave now. You don't need to be part of a big conglomerate. Yes, that's still corporate, but owning your own thing is actually going to be more beneficial. So I get it. He's like, dang, Charlemagne got a $200 million deal. He sold out. He was doing this. He was tap dancing and everything. But guess what? You have sole ownership to your brand now. It's not the Ebro show or Ebro in the morning. Hot 97's Ebro in the morning. You have the Ebro, Laura Stiles, and Rosenberg show. So you guys actually get to have the creative control. And also the funds are going back to you and your team just like that. Now you can do whatever you want and not have to worry about Hot 97. Think about Don Lemon. Don Lemon got fired from CNN, and look at him now, has his own YouTube channel and is prospering to the point where a lot of politicians want to come on his show to have a conversation with him rather than going to like regular news outlets. So think about that. There is no problem with you being independently owned and just doing it your own way and just hiring a team to just do those aspects for you too, right? Just think about that. That is totally fine. And I have to say this, yeah, he got 200 million, but you don't know what's in that contract and what has to do. And then think about those shows within the Black Effect Network, and they probably don't own all the rights to their content. So think about that as well too, Ebro. I get it. That 200 million, you're like, dang. But sir, sometimes a blessing to somebody, what you see as their blessing will be a lesson. Because we saw what happened when the HBO show that Charlemagne was supposed to have, and it never happened. Because look what popped up right after. I won't be surprised if something pops up right after that, or if that young lady was paid out for something. Just saying. Now, let's end this episode with the final topic, and I want to talk about this Marty Supreme film because the rollout has been just not even the rollout, the marketing. I know the marketing for this film was definitely over the actual film's budget, which is ranging around 70 million to like 80 million, which you already know if a film has a high budget, they have to make a higher percentage. So this film is supposed to allegedly be making at least $150 million for it to even feel like it did something. And currently, I think Marty Supreme actually did kind of good, but not as stellar as people are expecting it to do. But we'll see what happens as it keeps trekking on through the week, especially for the fact that A24 is an indie film company, and the fact that a lot of people are hyped up about it just because of the projects that it's coming out with. The fact that they had Timothy Chalamet literally on top of the spear and advertising the film. I will say Marty Supreme definitely is the movie that's like, you just gotta believe in yourself. Don't give up on yourself. That's basically the aspect of the film, but it mainly follows the life of a ping pong player and how he is not going to give up on his dream, which I say, I don't mind that. I love me a nice little motivational film, but still, the marketing, I know the budget for the film, but I want to know that marketing budget, because the amount of times I have seen Timothy on my TV screen, on my Instagram, all over the place. I need to know how much money you guys put into it. And it really goes to show you too is marketing truly does matter, but that's the first department y'all get rid of. The marketing, the PR department are the first departments y'all get rid of when it's time to do budget cuts. And I'll personally say this, y'all need to stop sleeping on the PR teams. But also, this rollout for this film is truly going to show us if Timothy can really hold a film for himself when it comes to the box office, right? We know that there are box office films where we hear about Brad Pitt or Leonardo DiCaprio, Michael B. Jordan go like they're the main actor and they sell out, right? It does amazing the box office. So we want to see those things, which makes me think about the fact that when Sinners came out, a lot of these like outlets were saying these things, and guess what? Sinners did amazing in the box office. And there wasn't that much marketing for that film. So another thing too is you can over market the film, but it's based off of the content. That's another thing as well too. But still, this really is going to show us, can Timothy really be the next leading man in Hollywood? Because this is really going to show these studios, should we have him being the leading man in the next film? And this is really what it is for him. And also, he's a producer within the film, and he's very much involved with it. So his reputation is really what's on the line in the end. So we'll see what happens, and I'll give you guys an update on this. But for y'all to really drop your film the same day as Avatar, delusional. But they did say that the film did beat Anaconda, which Anaconda is actually like a franchise. Because you guys remember when Anaconda first came out, it was Owen Wilson and J-Lo at that time, when J-Lo was still stealing music from Ashanti and giving us these struggle acting skills. But hey, it is what it is. But I didn't even know that Anaconda had like a new film, and Paul Rudd and Jack Black were on there. Did not even know that. So I could say that for sure. Sometimes you don't even need the advertisement. Sometimes you think the name is what's going to really put you on. But let's be real, the Anaconda series did never made an impact when it came to film. I can understand Avatar. Avatar is always going to be that shit. Like, Avatar is always going to be her. Avatar is always going to be that girl. Avatar is always going to be him. Not Anaconda. I could literally go watch Snakes on the Plane before I watch Anaconda. Yes, I said I will go watch Snakes on the Plane with Samuel L. Jackson before I go watch Anaconda. And I said what I said. But yeah, you guys. Do I want to end the show here, or do I want to talk about Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul? We'll talk about that on the Friday episode, because there's too much going on. All I can say is, Anthony Joshua, shout out to you, King. Shout out to you. Shout out to that British king. Shout out to that black British king. He did his thing. He said the British are coming, and he pound you in the face. Jake Paul, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy a black man got you. I'm happy. And it's the fact that you fought somebody close to your age, and it really goes to show you the only way you can even win a match is if it's a senior citizen. I really hope that knock in your face got you some sense, which I'm pretty sure it didn't give you no sense, because you never had some sense in you, and you just stopped doing boxing, okay? Because the field of boxing has just been a hot mess, and I needed to recalibrate and go back to the legacy and the greatness that it was today. Thank you. But you guys, I'm going to end this right here. Thank you so much for listening to Words with Wista. You can find this podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you find this podcast. So we got to follow it, write a review, give a rating, 5-star for your girl. Thank you. 5-star for your girls. If you want me to talk about anything, please send me a DM at ItsWista, ITSWISTA. You can also follow me on Instagram at ItsWista, ITSWISTA. You can follow the podcast on Substack and Instagram at wordswithwista. What else? Where else am I on? I'm also on Substack. I do post some articles on Substack as well. Definitely follow me on there. Read my writing. You like the way I talk, you might like the way I write. But you guys, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you guys. Happy New Year. Just know that you are blessed. You are loved. I know that amazing things are going to come your way. Just know that, hey, if you didn't have the best year, just know next year is going to be that year for you. Just know that anything that happens, if it's an obstacle, an achievement, a milestone, just live in that moment and just know that you have to live in the present to get into the future. And that's all I'm going to leave you guys with, okay? I love you guys, and I'll speak to you guys on Friday. Bye. Mwah. Also, Happy New Year.